We've been following events in Gaza very closely since the ceasefire kicked in a while back, and we are concerned. We're seeing Hamas and the other extremist groups and PRC, this group that your reporter has covered, they are an arm of Hamas. They're not independent at all.
So you're saying Hamas is giving orders to the PRC, so in other words, breaking their own truce promise?
Correct, 100% correct. PRC is not independent of Hamas. So they share the same leadership. They often subcontract out through the PRC. But having said that, it's clear that they're using this period of quiet as a timeout to rearm, regroup, and prepare for the next round.
So essentially then, why would it be in their best interest at this point to do this? It hasn't worked for either side. The sad reality is, I think, that you have a situation where for them they are committed to this extremist ideology, to jihad, to violence, and for them a ceasefire is only tactical. There's no reconciliation. The current ceasefire is something Israel wants to continue. It's good for the people in Israel's south who suffered under the barrages of the rockets. It's good for the Palestinians in Gaza. Everyone would want this ceasefire to continue, except for these extremist elements who run the Gaza Strip, who want to continue with their violent jihad. It's a problem for Israel and for the Palestinians. So in this environment, would the Israeli government and the Israeli military consider targeting these factories directly where these rockets are being manufactured? I mean, do you know their location? Is this something that's being planned right now?
The ceasefire that was negotiated through Egypt was very specific, that the Hamas movement and the other terrorist groups can't use it as a period to import more weapons, more explosive, more rockets into the Gaza Strip. And so that sort of activity is a clear violation of the ceasefire understandings achieved through Egypt. And of course, we reserve the right to act if need be to protect ourselves. We don't want this current quiet just to be the quiet before the storm.
And that is a fear for Israel then, the quiet before the storm.
Correct. We are concerned that Hamas is using this period of quiet to rebuild, to have more rockets with a longer range that can go deeper into Israel, rockets with a more powerful warhead, more deadly, that can kill more innocent civilians. We would be irresponsible to allow the ceasefire to be exploited, to be manipulated by Hamas, and just have a more serious threat to our national security, to the lives of our civilians, a month or two from now.
But it's a period of relative quiet really for Israel. For those living in Gaza, it's not. I mean, residents in Gaza, even when you target militants, civilians end up dying. In the West Bank, you also have issues there with ordinary people and civilians dying in military operations. So there you can sense the frustration coming from the Palestinian side. Can you feel that? Can you understand that?
I beg to disagree. The current calm is good for everybody. It's good for Israel, our civilian population in the south. It was really, their lives were ruined after these daily rocket barrages. I also knew the conflict is difficult for the Palestinians, and we have had now a situation where there's been quiet. The Israeli military has ceased all activities in the Gaza Strip, and for the most part we've seen a reduction in rockets, though we had one just this week, unfortunately. The ceasefire is good. We'd like to see it to continue. I think most Palestinians want to see it continue. The trouble is these extremists who don't really have anyone's interests at heart, not their own people's interests, rather these extremist, outdated, hateful ideology of hatred and jihad.
So essentially it's just a matter of when the truce will be broken. So there is absolutely no confidence in what you're saying that anything can get better if you're saying that Hamas and the PRC are actually preparing to break this truce and preparing to fire rockets back into southern Israel. There's really no hope.
I want to say unequivocally, I want to say that we want the truce to continue. We think it's good for us, it's good for the Palestinians. Non-violence is always better than violence. No one wants to see another war in the south. Having said that, there are red lines. We would be irresponsible to allow the growth of a military machine in Gaza that would threaten this country in a much more deadly way. And unfortunately, Hamas in Gaza has a model. Their model is Hezbollah in Lebanon. that used a period of quiet over years to build a very formidable military machine, and we paid a very serious price for that in 2006.
They don't have near the military capability of Hezbollah in Gaza.
Correct,
Nowhere
but that's
near.
their goal. And we've got to remember that Egypt is playing a much more positive role than Syria ever did.